The city was shrouded in a heavy silence that night, the streets nearly deserted, wrapped in the stillness of the late hour. At a lonely bus stop, under the flickering orange glow of a single street lamp, stood John. He was new to the city, a laborer working late shifts just to scrape by. He clutched his worn bag, the worn leather a familiar comfort against the unfamiliar emptiness of the streets. This was it, the last bus of the night, bus number 888. Beside him, an old man stood hunched, his face pale and etched with deep lines. He didn't speak a word, just kept darting nervous glances down the empty road, as if expecting something more than just a bus. John tried to ignore the man's anxious energy, focusing on the thought of his warm bed. At last, a pair of headlights sliced through the darkness. The bus, number 888, rolled to a stop with a tired hiss of its brakes, the doors creaking open like a sigh. The two men boarded. The interior was exactly what you'd expect from a late-night city bus, dim lights flickering erratically, seats cracked and worn from countless journeys, and a driver whose eyes were fixed on the road ahead, his face a silent, unreadable mask. John chose a seat by the window, hoping the passing lights would be a distraction. The old man sat across the aisle, still radiating a strange tension. As the bus rumbled on, the city outside became a blur of concrete and shadow. At the next stop, the doors hissed open again, and 3 more passengers climbed aboard, 2 men and a woman. Their clothes were strange, dull, old-fashioned, as if they'd stepped out of a history book. The moment they were on, the air inside the bus turned icy cold. It wasn't just a draft. It was a profound chill that seemed to seep into John's bones. The bus, already quiet, sank into a heavy, oppressive silence. John shivered, rubbing his arms, a sudden, inexplicable fear prickling his skin. He glanced at the new passengers. They sat perfectly still, their faces blank, their eyes staring into nothing. Suddenly, the old man leaned across the aisle, his voice a low, urgent whisper that cut through the silence. "Get ready. We have to get down." John blinked, completely bewildered. "What? Why? The ride's fine. It's just a few more passengers." He just wanted to get home. This was his last ride. But the old man's agitation grew, his eyes darting frantically toward the 3 newcomers. His whisper turned into a shout, his voice cracking with panic. "Stop the bus. We need to get down now." The driver didn't turn, didn't react at all. His hands were clamped on the steering wheel, his knuckles white. His face, reflected in the rearview mirror, was as pale and still as stone. The bus just kept moving, plunging deeper into the night. The old man, now desperate, scrambled from his seat and began pounding on the driver's partition. "Let us off now." Finally, with a gut-wrenching screech of tires, the bus swerved to the side of the road. Before John could even process what was happening, the old man grabbed him by the arm, his grip surprisingly strong, and yanked him toward the door. John stumbled out onto the cold pavement just as the doors hissed shut behind them. The bus pulled away immediately, its red taillights shrinking until they were swallowed completely by the darkness. John, now stranded and furious, turned on the old man. "Why did you drag me out? I was almost home. What was that all about?" The old man's voice trembled, all the panic replaced by a chilling calm. "Didn't you see?" he asked, his breath misting in the cold air. "Didn't you look closely at them? Those 3 who got on, they had no feet. Their bodies just hovered an inch above the floor. That bus, that was no ride for the living." John's blood ran cold. The anger drained out of him, replaced by a deep primal terror. He opened his mouth to reply, to argue, to say something, anything, but no words came. He just stared into the darkness where the bus had vanished, his heart hammering against his ribs. The next day's newspapers carried a small, strange report on an inside page. Bus number 888, the last bus on its route, had never reached its final depot. There was no driver, no passengers, and no wreckage. It had simply vanished without a trace. Some say that bus was claimed by spirits that roam the lonely night roads, forever searching for lost souls. Others whisper that bus 888 itself is cursed, a phantom vehicle doomed to carry the dead on an endless journey. And even to this day, on quiet, lonely city streets, late-night travelers claim they've seen the distant headlights of a bus that never seems to get any closer. A bus that never arrives at its destination. So, if you ever find yourself waiting at a desolate bus stop late at night, and a bus marked with the number 888 pulls up, do yourself a favor. Take a very close look at the passengers before you step inside. You might just save your life. Thanks for joining me for this story. If you enjoy Tales from the Shadows, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more. Stay safe out there, and until next time, watch where you're going.